Hey everybody, as you can guess by looking at what is shown right now, this is a payoff pitch baseball video. Now been playing payoff pitch for a few years now, but I've been using the original game parts and the design and everything like that from a couple years ago. Definitely serviceable, nothing wrong with it, but recently they've kind of changed up on their designs and things like that, so I thought it was time to go ahead and order new game parts. So I went ahead and did that, and I'll compare them to the old game parts shortly. But this is kind of sort of, I guess, maybe like a box opening or whatever they call those videos when you get something new and you show what's in the game and so forth. So thought I would do that and show you what you get now if you order the game parts. And now is a good time to order because there is a 15% sale on all printed game parts and sets. So I went in and took advantage of that, and just throw another plug out for Payoff Pitch. When I ordered this a couple of days ago, the sale had not yet kicked in, but in the time it took me to order and the time they actually got ready to mail it, they did start their sale. So I was given credit back, 15% credit back on my order. So, obviously that's something they did not have to do because I didn't technically order it during the sale period. I ordered it kind of pre-sale, not knowing when their sale was going to kick in. So the fact that they went and backdated the sale for me, I thought that was a pretty nice gesture indeed. So let's see what we get inside. I just took this out of the U.S. Postal Service box that it came in. I already noticed right away that the design of the box is certainly a little bit different, kind of more plain looking, which doesn't really bother me that much. The box just is something to hold game parts. It's not really there for design. Let me pull out the old game box. The original game box from a couple of years ago looked like this. You see it had like the little logo here for PT Games, and of course Joe Bryant and everything else. So, but really the logo is still the same. The pitcher in the payoff pitch position in his windup, still the same. And like I said, it's actually a little bit bigger. And also on the side, they also have payoff pitch baseball on the side here, and on the side here. I don't think, and it's also on the back, so it's covered. It's circulated around the whole box. All right, let's dig in and see what we got. What I ordered was the printed set of the game parts, which should come with the dice and the fast action cards and the charts. And I also ordered the 2017 printed set in color. Never ordered a color printed set before. It's always been black and white. Of course the PDFs are color, but I've never done the printed set in color, so I'm very curious to see how that compares to the black and white set and see how that goes. Let's see what we get inside. You're looking at the same as me for the first time. So we open this up, and very interesting that they're already in rubber bands. That's usually when you buy a set, you have to they're just kind of jumbled up, but in this case they're in rubber bands. Now I'm assuming that I still have to collate these because I believe they're just in a mix and not in teams. Just my guess without having to go in there and look further. So let's look at the game parts again. We're getting, comes with the dice, and it also has the pitcher hitting cards here, and I believe their pitcher fatigue cards are also in here. I'll verify that. Kind of hard to do this one-handed when I'm holding the camera. I don't have my stand in front of me. So let's go ahead and take all of these things out of here and see what's underneath. Why don't we? And we'll get a better look at the cards as well after I do this. So let's get all of this out of here, and I'll do some compare and contrast with the current style cards and the old style cards. All right, now the fast action cards are in plastic, so I do see they're in plastic. Let's look at an old fast action card from the prior. It looked like this. So put these side by side, see if there's a big difference. It looks like the font maybe is a little bit bigger, which I like in the newer ones. Let's see, is there anything else I just kind of like the design of the newer ones better. They're maybe 6 one, half dozen of the other, but I just happen to put them together. I think the newer ones have a little bit better spacing on them. I think this is a little bit easier to read. Not that these were hard to read, but I do like the style of the newer ones. And if we look at the newer cards themselves, let's look at a ballpark card. Still got the rubber band on them, so I'll have to move that. So let's look at one of the ballpark cards. Let's look at US Cellular Field and compare it to one of the original ballpark cards, and we can see the difference here. Not so much in the ballpark wheelhouse and in play, but definitely in the range checks and the error checks. I like that they're vertical, and it just kind of, to me, kind of just is a better setup. Not that there was anything wrong with these at all. They're very serviceable, but I think these, are a little bit better. You can't really tell that these are supposed to be in color, but of course the White Sox are black, so that's why it's looking like that. I probably should have pulled out a better card from a different ballpark card, but that was the one just happened to be on top. Now let's look at the player cards. This is the old version of the player cards, the way they used to come a couple years ago. And this is the newer version in color. So not only are they in color, but just the style of it, where the out chart before was down here horizontally. I think it has a much cleaner look up here vertically. Pretty much everything else is kind of the same. The sacrifice bunts and things like that are over here with all their run ratings and everything, instead of being over here. So I think that kind of, just to me, sets it up a little bit better. Just the design, I think, is a little bit better. I do like the color. Paid $5 extra for it, but I think it does stand out pretty well. Not that there's anything wrong with the black and white ones, because I do have the 1969 newer versions in black and white, but the color ones definitely look pretty decent. So, not, like I said, not that there's anything wrong with the old style. It's just sometimes you want something new. Sometimes when you see something new, it just kind of stands out to you. So let's see what else you get here. We get a couple of score sheets. So we got a couple front, and they're actually double-sided, which is kind of cool. A couple of double-sided, about 4 or 5 pages of double-sided. These are some regular printer paper, nothing cardstock or anything, just regular printer paper, but they are front and back. So that's kind of neat. So get some of the charts here. Very similar to the charts in the old game. That part pretty much didn't change. We do have the charts here for the stealing, and then we have it for the injuries and the rare play. Got another one here for the defensive checks for using the dice version. There's the defensive checks and the out checks. And then over here we've got one for runner advancement. If you're using the dice for runner advancement, you got this runner advancement chart. Very important. The stealing chart. And over here got the sacrifice bunt chart, and then some of the out charts. Some people like to play it where if it's a tough fly out, then you don't worry about what the lead dice are, or lead die is. You go by whether it was tough, in play, patient, or wheelhouse. So that's an optional rule as well. And then we get the 12-page booklet, which is pretty much the same, I think. Kind of just goes through the same routines of what to do for base stealing, gives you options and so forth. That's one of the great things about this game, is you do have the option of using the dice or the fast action cards, or a combination of the two. So as you can see here with all these cards, I have my work cut out for me. I do have some leftover Stratomac rubber bands I was going to use for these, but since these came with rubber bands, I guess I'll use those. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I've got to break them down into the teams, obviously, so I'm going to need more rubber bands. But yeah, that's the one thing when you buy the sets from Payoff Pitch. They are not collated, so you do need to collate them yourself into the different teams, and there's really no rhyme or reason for how they're ordered. Here's Xander Bogaerts, and right behind him is a pitcher card for Boston, but then you got Cleveland, and down here you got Oakland. So I mean, there's really no set pattern that I can detect, but I do want to point out again, for people who have not played this game or have not seen it very much, the player card quality themselves, the quality of the makeup of the cards, the card stock, is the best in the industry, bar none, in my opinion. I don't think there's anything as good. It's certainly better than Stratomatic, and I don't think APA comes close to this. Closest one probably is Payoff Pitch. I'm sorry, is Replay Baseball, but I think these cards are just a tiny bit better than those as far as the card quality. It's close, but these things, I'm telling you, when I was separating the 69 set, I thought I had two cards stuck together because the card stock was so thick. It was really only one card. So I think these cards are very, very good. I'm looking forward to getting into some of the 2017 with them. I've got the 17 set in other games, but didn't have it for Payoff Pitch. And certainly in the pitcher cards, we'll look at the pitcher card here. You can see with the colorization how the wheelhouse stands out very, very much so, and same with the tough and everything else. So the pitcher cards didn't really change that much as far as the way they're designed. Definitely the batter cards did, though, and I do like the fact that the outs are in the vertical portion here. I think the style of the card is very, very good. So that's it from here. Nothing major going on. Just thought I would take advantage of updating my Payoff Pitch game parts. No mat in the game like they used to have, but I can pull the old mat from the old game, so I can certainly do that. Like I said, I do have the nice fast action cards. I think they're if you're like me and you're a little older, your eyesight maybe not be as good, so the print, the font's a little bit bigger, easier to see for me. So certainly might look into using the fast action cards either as a runner advancement tool, or maybe playing a full game with it, or doing like a hybrid, or who knows. It's hard to say till we get into it, but the options are limitless, I suppose, as to what you can do with that. Curious to see exactly how many players come with the set and how many might be missing, but they're usually pretty good about including lesser players. So I'm not going to go through here and waste everybody's time, but there's quite a few. So I think they're going to have most of the players on here. And I know they have what they call combined player stats, and that's if a player was traded between one team and the other. They usually will have them on 3 cards, one for each of the teams, and then one for the traded. And then of course you got the 2 dice here. Now the old set that I had, the D10s were white and black. This one is white and red, and the 2D6s were blue and red. This is both blue, so that's a little bit different. I'm going to get used to that. Pitch rating cards designed the same way. So glad to get that, along with the, I believe what's behind here is the pitcher fatigue cards to use when your pitcher gets fatigued. So that's pretty much going to do it from here. Payoff Pitch. I've got my work cut out for me now to collate these things and put them in their teams. And like I said, the box is pretty good as far as giving you room to store at least one season in here, I would think. So that should be pretty easy to store the 17 set in here and be ready to go. So that's going to do it from here. Payoff Pitch. Again, it's a great game. I've been playing it for a couple of years, but I really liked playing with the newer design cards. It just kind of freshens the game up for me. Sometimes you need to freshen up once in a while. So I think adding the newer design fast action cards will just add to that even further. And that's pretty much it. If you haven't tried the game at all, I encourage you to try it. You won't be disappointed. It does have that 50-50, or does not have that 50-50 interaction. The batter and the pitcher both get involved in every at bat. So, or a fielder, depending on if it's a fielding check. But some of the games like Strat that get the complaints of the 50-50, you don't have that in this game. It's batter-pitcher interface on every pitch. And in fact, what separates this a little bit from replay baseball is that in the pitcher-batter interaction, the pitcher gets the first call in this game. The pitcher determines where the pitch is going to go, whether it's going to be in the patient category, tough category, or whatever. And then the batter has to react to it, whereas in replay, the batter dictates where you go, and then the pitcher has to try to stop him from getting a hit or home run or whatever the case may be. So that's it from here. Hope you guys are enjoying your Saturday. It's the last Saturday in July, And I know football season's starting up here. The Redskins camp is in town, but I don't really care about them, or really the NFL for that matter, after everything that went through last year, and just left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm a baseball guy anyway, so I'm good to go with baseball 24/7, 365 as far as I'm concerned. I do like college football and high school football, but as far as the NFL goes, they can stick it as far as I'm concerned. I'm sticking with baseball. So hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you all down the road.